El Capitan is the DOE National Nuclear Security Administration's first exascale machine. As the world's most powerful machine, it will be greater than 2 exaflops. To put that in perspective, most modern cell phones are on the order of 2 teraflops. You would need 1 million cell phones to equal the power of El Capitan.
El Capitan is going to be used primarily to support the nuclear deterrent mission of the NNSA, which is the stockpile stewardship mission, supporting the enduring stockpile that we have, understanding issues of aging and making sure that we can assess the stockpile as being safe, secure, and reliable.
Having access to an exascale computer for our national security mission is going to be tremendous for the Tri-Labs. Sandia, Los Alamos, Livermore all have important questions that they need to be answered. One of the big national security implications of having an exascale machine is the life extension program and the modernization program.
Our mission at the lab has increased in complexity dramatically over the past 10 to 15 years. We had 2 modernization programs kind of come online at the same time, and those had new requirements for modeling and simulation.
So with El Capitan, we're expecting breakthrough performance gains on our multiphysics applications, not just on node performance, but the scale. The sheer number of unknowns we'll be able to solve for is going to be unprecedented.
So Sierra, the previous advanced technology system at Livermore Computing, was a 125 petaflop peak system. El Capitan is more than 20 times as capable as Sierra.
This is the fastest supercomputer we've ever deployed in the National Nuclear Security Administration. The potential for science on this machine is amazing. Not just in the national security enterprise with El Capitan, but also in the general open science enterprise with Tuolumne.
Tuolumne is a smaller version of El Capitan. Its mission is to do unclassified science for the entire laboratory and our collaborators.
It will be a world-class resource used to solve problems in materials science, nuclear structure, astrophysics, climate science, and many others.
So partnership is everything for building a system of this scale. It's a system we've been working with HPE and AMD to deploy here at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. We've been working hand in hand with each other, not only to get the system built, but to get the applications ready so that on day one, the system is effective for our needs.
El Capitan has been extraordinary, really, from start to finish.
We're very excited about the significant innovations in the system. This includes HPE's Rabbit modules, which are near-node local storage. This enables a set of compute nodes to access the same physical resources as if they were directly mounted on those compute.
El Capitan and Tuolumne use AMD's APU, Accelerated Processing Unit. This is the first time this particular chip technology has been used in a machine.
Historically, we've needed to use very large calculations on GPU machines. They've been very computationally hungry, but the hardware on this machine will allow us to run smaller calculations, thousands and thousands of smaller calculations.
And the sheer size of El Capitan means we can take that single node problem and scale it up to something that we've never been able to do before.
El Capitan will prove revolutionary for our application scientists, and that fills me with a tremendous sense of pride, particularly after the many years of effort that have gone into building what is, I think, the most beautiful system we've ever deployed here.
And I wake up and I think, how in the world did I get to work on this? And it is quite a privilege. And what's truly special, not only about this big team effort, is that it's driven by the mission of the National Nuclear Security Administration. We are really aimed at their goals and delivering capability that this group of people need to drive their mission forward. It's one big mission, and we're all working towards that goal.
Pretty inspiring. Welcome to everybody. We're very excited to have you here today. Another great day in Livermore and DOE history. So if I can get the first slide, please. So we're also here on what has been designated as a National Day of Mourning for former President Carter, who recently passed away at 100 years of age, which is quite remarkable. And I think it's important to take a moment to honor President Carter's legacy. His profound commitment to global security and humanitarian efforts inspired generations. And indeed, it seems fitting, as he was served in the nuclear navy under Admiral Rickover, a mission still supported by the National Nuclear Security Administration, and he later signed the legislation in 1977 that created the Department of Energy during the energy crisis. So in some sense, we celebrate his legacy with El Capitan.
His dedication to peace and human rights was exemplified in his role in fostering peace and stability in the Middle East through the Camp David Accords, and with the Soviet Union via the Second Strategic Arms Limitation, or SALT II Treaty. Remember, arms control was a big thing in the 70s. After his time in office, he worked as a champion for global health initiatives and disease prevention, and through his tireless work with charitable organizations like Habitat for Humanity. And I think many of these issues he pursued with great passion and commitment are things that we still are working on today. As you may know, his handpicked Secretary of Defense was one of my predecessors here at Livermore, former lab director Harold Brown, who during the nuclear moratorium in the early 60s was a driving force for expanding our capabilities in computing. Today, more than 60 years later, we are dedicating the most powerful supercomputer ever built for this purpose. I like the very cautious statements in the video. It is not just the most powerful computer in the National Nuclear Security Administration. It is certainly the most powerful computer in the Department of Energy, and at the moment, the most powerful computer in the world. This machine we celebrate represents not just cutting-edge technology, but also the culmination of deep partnerships, bold ideas, and tireless efforts. Again, a testament to the kind of service that President Carter exemplified. So with that, I would like to move to the celebratory part of today's event and hand the podium over to Associate Director for Advanced Weapons Simulation and Computing here at Livermore, Rob Neely. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Kim, for those opening remarks. So let me now welcome you all to this event, the dedication of El Capitan, the world's #1 fastest supercomputer based on the top 500 and the first exascale system for the NNSA. We're also celebrating Tuolumne. You heard a little bit about that, El Cap's smaller sibling, but also #10 on that top 500 list, aimed at open science. You'll hear more about that from some of our subsequent speakers. I want to especially thank those of you who traveled from afar to be with us here today. Your presence really speaks to the shared commitment and collaboration that's made this day possible. So we're gathered here to celebrate an important waypoint in a historic journey. Today we mark the accomplishment of deploying El Capitan here at Livermore, but this story will continue to unfold in the coming months and years as this system is applied to our national security mission. This is just a waypoint on a long journey. It's then that we'll see the full impact of what our industry partners built for us and with us, solving complex scientific problems and strengthening our national security. On a personal note, I've been fortunate enough to be here since the beginning, and I don't just mean the beginning of this El Capitan project or even the beginning when we started talking about exascale 15 odd years ago, but the beginning of the ASCII program, which you'll hear about from my fellow traveler, Tuk Wong, a little later in the program. But the computing power El Capitan brings to the nation is about 50 million times greater than it was when I started here at the laboratory. The application codes, most importantly, have kept a pace with those changes, and it's really just quite incredible the science we're able to deliver on these systems now. It was frankly unimaginable to a younger me, so I'm very proud to be here today to celebrate this. To say it's been a fun and wild ride would be an understatement. There's a booklet out on the table, I think it's called Retrospectives on the Last 30 Years at Livermore, that tells some of the story. I hope some of you will be able to pick that up. But today's celebration is really a testament to partnership. So first, I want to recognize the support from Livermore's leadership, at the director's office and elsewhere. Their vision and guidance have been instrumental and really unwavering in reaching this milestone. Likewise, our partners at headquarters at NNSA have ensured the resources were there to make the system a reality. They've cleared barriers and obstacles and helped build potent partnerships with the DOE Office of Science as part of the Exascale Computing Initiative, for example. And when the NNSA Livermore Field Office has been with us every step of the way as well, offering support when we needed it most. And of course, we wouldn't be here without our industry partners from HPE, AMD, and Red Hat. Your innovations, engineering, expertise, and collaboration have made El Cap possible. Thank you. But finally, I also want to note that this achievement belongs to our sister labs at Sandia and Los Alamos as well. They've been working hard to make sure all of their applications will harness the full potential of the capabilities of this system. So while the system is operated here at Livermore, they are equal partners in how the system will be exercised for the NNSA mission. So with that, it's now my great pleasure to welcome back to the podium the Director of Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, Kim Budil.
Nothing says celebration like getting to hear me twice. So I hope everyone saw I'm wearing the swag, the official swag. It wouldn't be a celebration without a special t-shirt. So thanks to the team who put those together. So thank you, Rob. I'd first like to take a moment and welcome our many distinguished guests who are here today. We have from NNSA, the Deputy Administrator for Defense Programs, Dr. Marvin Adams, the Dave LeGraff, we split him in two rows, it's hard to follow. The Associate Deputy Administrator for Research, Development, Test, and Evaluation, Dave LeGraff. We have Marv's Deputy, Dave Hoagland. We have Pete Roderick, formerly our Field Office Manager, now Head of Partnerships and Acquisition Sciences, and of course our great partner, Teresa Robbins from the Administrator's Office, Tuk Wong from the ASC Office, and our computing lead, Stephen Reinhardt. So really wonderful support. We would not be here without you. Of course, our new Field Office Manager, who just began this week, Florence Tyndall, is here with us today, and Janice Parenti, who has been the Field Office Manager through the journey that has brought us to this point. We, again, for sure would not be here, and I'm sure you'll still wake up in the middle of the night sometimes and say, LTO, just really, and key members of all of your teams. I'd also like to recognize the elected officials who are here with us. I see Mayor Marchand here in the front row. Supervisor Haubert is here. We have the Mayor of Tracy here with us today, so thank you for joining us. We appreciate that. And our valued industry partners, Antonio Neri, the CEO of HPE, and Lisa Su, the Chair and CEO at AMD, and our partners from Red Hat. We certainly wouldn't be here today without you. And I would like to acknowledge we have our two laboratory director partners from Los Alamos, Tom Mason, and from Sandia, James Peary. As Rob noted, this isn't just our victory. This mighty beast of a machine will be enabling the whole Tri-Lab community to do amazing things. So computing has really been a part of our laboratory's DNA since it was founded. And our first procurement in 1952, when we were founded, was actually a supercomputer, so a UNIVAC 1. I'm not sure. I think you could probably replace that one for one with a cell phone. I'm not entirely sure, but it's been part of how we do our work for a very long time, and this relationship between learning through experimentation and using computing to take that to the next level has been there since the beginning. This is the 7th dedication of a major HPC installation at Livermore since the launch of the Accelerated Strategic Computing Initiative, or the ASCII program, nearly 30 years ago, which seems remarkable. And I'll just note that at each juncture in that journey, the machines we've cited have exceeded our expectations. So we have high standards, high expectations, and we have always done things well beyond what we anticipated. This does, however, mark the first system that HPE has delivered to this lab. So it's a very exciting opportunity for all of us to do this work together. HPE's world-class engineering has integrated leading-edge components into a truly world-class system that will provide capabilities unmatched anywhere else on the planet. Their innovations in networking, power, and cooling now underpin not one, but 3 exascale systems delivered to DOE, the top 3 in the world. So AMD's MI300A, the first ever accelerated processing unit, finds its inaugural use right here at Livermore, and we're very excited to see what we can do with this incredibly advanced technology. So this is a really revolutionary step on ramp to heterogeneous computing for us and for the scientific modeling and simulation community. By eliminating separate memory spaces between the CPUs and GPUs, this technology will accelerate innovation for years to come. And let us not forget that machines without software are not nearly as interesting or useful. Red Hat's contributions, particularly through the Tri-Lab Operating System Software Stack, or TOS, ensure that LCAP operates seamlessly alongside the other HPC systems across Livermore with the consistency and reliability that our users and our mission demand. And it's hard to overstate the requirements that we put on these machines to deliver. Our missions matter, they're important, they're urgent, and they're continuous. And so the ability to site these machines, bring the software online, bring our applications online, and have reliable operation right out of the gate is a critically important part of this process. Now, Rob mentioned the power of partnership, and this is a truly unique partnership ecosystem and has been since the beginning of the ASCII program. The quality of the partnership is not measured by when we sign the contracts, it's measured by how we get to the end of the journey. And there were many challenges along the way. The ASC program really does seek to push the boundaries of what's possible. We are always looking to get just a little bit more capability than the laws of physics allow, maybe. But without being ambitious like that, you don't get to places like we are today. So the power of that partnership to work on this ambitious and demanding project as a team has delivered this truly remarkable outcome and an enduring partnership that we'll be taking advantage of for some time. So our co-founder, Ernest Lawrence, pioneered the idea of big science. So really bringing together multidisciplinary teams to do science at a level of complexity and a scale that no one discipline could manage on their own. So LCAP and its companion system Tuolumne stand as proof of the power of that concept. And I think it's important to note, it was noted in the video, El Capitan is a magnificent machine. I think calling Tuolumne number 10 doesn't do it justice. Our open science machine is bigger than our current last generation national security machine. So this step is truly revolutionary for us in terms of capability. And I'd like to really recognize the staff here at Livermore. Bringing this project to life has been an extraordinary accomplishment. You've poured your hearts and souls into this, and it's wonderful to be able to celebrate that here today. And what we will do with this machine will far outstrip anything we imagine today. And to all of those who will use this system here and at the other laboratories to explore new frontiers of science and discovery and support our critical missions, we look forward to seeing where you'll take us. Thank you for all your hard work, your passion, your dedication. I'm really, really pleased now to introduce someone who's been a steadfast partner in making this day possible, Janice Parenti from our field office.
Thank you, Kim. And I really appreciate this fantastic retirement party you've thrown me today. It's great showing. It's really an honor to join everyone here for this dedication of El Capitan today. As you mentioned, since the earliest days of this laboratory in the 1950s, the laboratory has been at the forefront of high-performance computing, building and deploying supercomputers that push the envelope for science and technology. These systems have always been vital to our mission, and today they remain essential tools for certifying the safety, security, and reliability of the U.S. nuclear stockpile without returning to underground nuclear testing. And as Kim mentioned, procuring, installing, and standing up LCAP has been a massive multi-year effort. I cannot emphasize that strongly enough. It required extraordinary collaboration across many sectors of the laboratory, the Livermore field office, and NNSA headquarters, including infrastructure, construction, contracting, legal. I'm giving a shout out to my lawyers out there, the operations teams, among others, and everyone played a critical role. I also want to recognize the tremendous work of Livermore Computing and its code developers who have worked tirelessly to ensure that this system can deliver the simulations we need to meet the challenges of today and the future. Exascale computing demands an unprecedented scale of infrastructure, power, cooling, and facilities must all match the sheer size and complexity of these machines. With the completion of the exascale computing facility modernization project, I'm proud to say that LLNL now has the capability to house, as you've heard, 2 exascale class systems simultaneously right here in Livermore. This milestone not only enhances our ability to respond to emerging challenges in our national security mission, but also cements the laboratory's role as a leader in high-performance computing for decades to come. Of course, none of this would have been possible without our exceptional industry partners. We are proud to recognize HPE and AMD for their outstanding contributions and teamwork throughout this journey. HPE has delivered all 3 of the world's exascale systems as recognized by the top 500 list. With LCAP in the top position, number 1, our sister DOE laboratories, Oak Ridge National Lab and Argonne National Lab, home to numbers 2 and 3 respectively, it's clear that this partnership is driving global leadership in HPC. Meanwhile, AMD delivered a groundbreaking achievement with its processors powering El Capitan. As Kim mentioned, this system uses AMD's first-of-its-kind APU chiplet technology, which has moved the goalposts for efficiency standards in HPC. Achievements like these demonstrate what's possible when the laboratory and U.S. industry partners work hand in hand. I feel incredibly lucky to come to work every day, even if only for a few more weeks, at a place like the laboratory, where scientific innovation is a way of life. It feels like only yesterday that we stood together on this site to celebrate the historic achievement of fusion ignition at the National Ignition Facility. And here we are today, celebrating another milestone as we harness the power of exascale in pursuit of our national security missions. This lab is driving the forefront of American science and technology, and every single one of you should feel proud of the contributions you've made to the mission. It's now my privilege to introduce the Honorable Dr. Marvin Adams, the Deputy Administrator for NNSA Defense Programs. Dr. Adams has been a steadfast leader and advocate for our mission, and we are grateful for his vision and support. Dr. Adams.
Well, thank you, Janice. It is a privilege to be here. It's kind of personal to me, as I'll tell a little bit about my intersection with Livermore's computing over the years. But first, I want to thank Livermore for this tie. I think this goes really well with my suit. Appreciate that. So my intersection with Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory's computing goes back more than 4 decades. And in 1982, as a graduate student, I was using the Cray 2 that was here named Bubbles. I don't know if anybody goes back and remembers that. I see a little hand wave out there. Later in the 1980s, I was here as a code developer, and I was writing, helping write multi-physics simulation codes that were using the Cray XMP and then the Cray YMP. When I left in the early 90s, the Cray YMP was our supercomputer. It had 8 processors. It was 8 parallel processors, each of which was a vector processor. In round numbers, what we have here today is close to a factor of 1 billion more in compute power than that. I continued to be involved with the computing programs and so on. And actually, if we go back farther, really, the nuclear security enterprise's reliance on high-performance computing goes back to the Manhattan Project. So computing has played a central role in that since the Manhattan Project, and it will continue to do so for the future. Going back to the timeline story, I watched with great interest as my predecessor in my current role as the leader of defense programs, Vic Reese, when he stood up the ASCII program. I was present when he launched the ASCII program's the Academic Strategic Alliance program in Dallas in 1995. Some of you might remember. Later in the 1990s, we had the Burn Code program. I was on the Burn Code review team that came in and was looking at Yeah, I see Mike out there going, oh, yes, that was painful. And Brian Pudliner and Mike were key players in that, who were trying to make their codes work on the computers that the ASCII program was providing. I remember ASCII White. I remember ASCII Blue Pacific. I want to talk a little bit about ASCII Blue Pacific. It was about a 3.8 teraflop machine. It used 3 megawatts of power. If we wanted to replicate ASCII Blue Pacific, which was in the late 1990s, if we wanted to have enough of those to equal El Capitan's computing power, we'd need about 500,000 of them. The power requirement for that 3 megawatts times 500,000, do the math, it's more than what the US consumes in electricity. So we couldn't power it with the total power supply in the US. And it would take several hundred square miles of land area to house that. I hope that puts things in a little bit of perspective on what this means. This thing only takes 35 megawatts to run, and it fits in Building 453, as many of you either have seen or will today on the tours. It's just remarkable to cram that much computing power into that space and to use, I know 30-something megawatts sounds like a lot, but for that amount of computing power, that is not much. It's really, really stinking remarkable. As Kim said, that remarkable hardware doesn't do much for us unless we can make it do the calculations we need to do. It's been part of my career. Most of my career since the early 1980s has been in developing methods and codes that can make these really high-end supercomputers solve the problems that we care about. I'm going to take a little moment here to back up. The reason I'm in the job that I'm in today is because I do believe that our nuclear deterrent is playing a key role in keeping us out of major wars while retaining our way of life in this country and the countries that our partners and allies are in. I do believe that's important. Our deterrent is more than the nuclear weapons and their delivery vehicles. It is also the credibility of our scientists and our engineers, and in fact, the credibility that goes along with having this kind of facility. This says we know what we're doing in this very important technology, much as achieving ignition at NIF says we know what we're doing in that very important area. So this is part of our deterrent, even if we don't, not even counting the calculations that it does, just to show that we can do this is part of our deterrent today. So anyway, a shout out to those people who can take this machine and make it crunch the numbers that we need to crunch for our stockpile calculations and other calculations. It is not easy, I can tell you from personal experience. It's a remarkable machine. Thank you, Lisa. Good to see you. Lisa and I were on the President's Council of Advisors in Science and Technology for a little while before I had to resign to take this job. So good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Anyway, with that, it is my pleasure now to welcome to the podium the Mayor of Livermore, the Honorable John Marchand.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you for inviting me to speak at this historic event. I am truly honored to be in the company of those on today's program, people that have had my admiration and respect for many years. As the mayor, I get to see firsthand the positive impact that our laboratories have had on our community, our schools, our businesses, and our local economy. Our labs continue to inspire and support future generations of scientists, engineers, and technicians. Livermore is a city of contrasts and superlatives. It is California's oldest commercial wine region, and as the only city with 2 national laboratories, Lawrence Livermore and Sandia National Laboratories, we are at the cutting edge of technology. Livermore has the world's longest continuously burning light bulb. Still burning after 123 years. We also have the world's most energetic laser at the National Ignition Facility, NIF. When it fires, for a fraction of a second, NIF can deliver 300 times the power of the US grid. And concentrated on the object the size of a pencil eraser. And they were talking about the 35 megawatts. The city of Livermore uses about 10 megawatts. Let's put that in perspective. NIF is the first in the world to achieve nuclear fusion ignition, literally creating a star on Earth. Livermore is one of only 6 cities in the world to have an element named after it and to have our name appear on the periodic table of elements. Element 116, Livermorium. Livermore was founded in 1869, the same year that Dmitry Mendeleev created the periodic table of elements. And now Livermore is on it. I'm a chemist, so I think that's really pretty cool. Livermore has the world's fastest rodeo. And now Livermore has the world's fastest supercomputer, El Capitan. Let's hear it for that rodeo, yeah. So Livermorium, fusion ignition, and now El Capitan, 3 of the most remarkable achievements for humankind, have all been recognized during my tenure as mayor. And even though I had nothing to do with any of them, I can still have my name associated with them. I think that's pretty cool. I am extraordinarily proud to represent this remarkable community. For me, this moment is personal. I like to say that before I got into politics, I used to do legitimate work as a chemist, working at a laboratory, not the laboratory. I can honestly say that some of my proudest moments in my career have been those associated with Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory and Sandia. One of the highlights of my career was to speak at the podium of the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry at the International Colloquium, where we named Livermorium as the mayor of the city, and to name it after my city and our laboratory. As the mayor, I was able to bring 2 of the elements that define Livermore, art and science, together in the heart of our downtown, creating a park called Livermorium Plaza at 116 Livermore Avenue. At the center of that park is an 11,000-pound ball representing the nucleus of Livermorium, and anyone in this room can move that ball because it's floating. It is a testament to the relationship between our city and our laboratories. The Livermore Labs have been called the smartest square mile on Earth. It is also said that the most difficult problems in the world come to Livermore to be solved, whether they're national security, stockpile stewardship, or using star power to create an endless supply of non-polluting energy. On behalf of the city of Livermore, I extend our deepest gratitude to the lab leadership, the NNSA, the lab's remarkable workforce, and all of the partners who made this moment possible. El Capitan will now allow scientists to have the ability to analyze what for most of us would be unimaginable complexities. This is a new era in computer science, and Livermore is leading the way. Now, please welcome Brad Wallen, the Deputy Director of Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory's Strategic Deterrence Electorate.
All right, thank you, Mayor Marchand. It is really an honor to be up here today, celebrating with all of you. I came to the laboratory 30 years ago. I wanted to do 2 things. I wanted to work on national security, and I wanted to work on the fastest computers in the world. And this was a great choice for me. I'm really happy I made it. Back then, we were laying the foundation for the use of high-performance computing in a post-nuclear testing era, the stockpile stewardship era. It's remarkable to see how far we've come. You've heard a little bit about some of the incredible increases since then, from terascale to exascale, or from trillions to quintillions of calculations per second. At the heart of the stockpile stewardship lies the work that we do in design, certification, and assessment. Computing is the cornerstone of that mission. This is where, when we have a question, the first place we start is a calculation to try to build some intuition about what might actually be happening. It's where we design experiments to go off to better understand the phenomena that we're looking at. It's where we analyze those experiments and then incorporate all of that knowledge back into our codes to help inform our best judgment about what decisions to make for the stockpile. El Capitan represents a huge leap in our capability to do that work. While today's celebration highlights this extraordinary machine, I want to recognize some of the people behind the scenes who really are going to make it do what we need it to do for national security. So one is our folks in Livermore Computing and who support our computer center. They are going to make sure that this machine, as they have with every other machine we've ever had, do an outstanding job of making sure it remains operational, secure, and available for users. Second, the code developers, which is what I was hired to do at the laboratory a long time ago, to write and optimize the complex multi-physics codes that are the tools that we use to answer the important questions that we have. And third, the end users, the scientists and engineers who are going to use those codes in order to solve the problems of national security. Without their innovation and dedication, El Capitan would be hardware, beautiful hardware, big hardware, energy efficient hardware, but just hardware. And we want to give it purpose with this work that we would do. So this system will be a triumph for the entire NNSA, as you've heard. All the laboratories will be using it, which will mean this power is accessible and will be helping all of our weapon systems within the deterrent and all the components within. Looking ahead, access to Tuolumne, the other machine that you heard about, is going to be granted to the ASK Predictive Science Academic Alliance program, which is a really important pipeline program that we have with universities that helps them in modeling and simulation and helps attract the next generation of stewards to the laboratories to be able to work on national security in the future. El Capitan was procured as a system for modeling and simulation, our bread and butter. But the AMD APUs and the HPE technologies, like near-node local storage and the Slingshot network, make this machine a true powerhouse for AI training and inference. While we're still exploring the full role AI will play in our mission, there's no doubt that it is going to improve our ability to do research and development that we need to do. And with El Capitan, we're really ready for whatever the future holds. This milestone represents the best of what the lab can do, pushing boundaries, solving tough problems, and delivering capabilities that matter. I want to thank everyone who played a role in making El Capitan a reality. Your work ensures the lab and the nation can be at the forefront of science, technology, and national security. So with that, I'd like to thank you and welcome Pat Falcone, the lab's Deputy Director for Science and Technology.
Good morning. Here at Lawrence Livermore, high-performance computing is not just a tool. It's a strategic pillar for our entire research enterprise. Institutional computing is the backbone of everything we do, supporting the lab's missions, enabling scientific breakthroughs, and building foundational capabilities for the future. Today, rapid advancements in generative artificial intelligence are opening new possibilities for us at the lab to deploy powerful computing capabilities into critical research spaces and develop fundamental efforts in the broader realm of artificial intelligence more generally. Today, we're celebrating El Capitan, but as you've also heard the previous speakers, we're also celebrating Tuolumne, which it's only about a tenth the size of El Capitan, but it is still, as someone else has already noted, recognized as one of the most powerful supercomputers in the world, number 10 globally. And as also has been noted, while Tuolumne is only a fraction of the physical size of Sierra, our previous flagship and most powerful machine, Tuolumne surpasses Sierra in performance by more than a factor of 2. And it's just amazingly remarkable, the pace of technology and the potential for what we can do. But thinking about Tuolumne, what makes it really special is that it's available to everyone at the lab and their collaborators with a need for high-performance computing. Whether our scientists are tackling fundamental numerical and mathematical research, or developing simulations of quantum systems, advanced manufacturing processes, of biological pathways, space science, or earthquake modeling, this compute system and its leading-edge computational power is within reach for every program and project. Through our multi-programmatic and institutional computing program, Tuolumne supports this laboratory's grand challenges, innovative and unclassified projects that tackle foundational problems adjacent to national security. These efforts strengthen the discipline of computational science, attract the next generation of talent, and empower new solutions. At the same time, Tuolumne provides a gateway to El Capitan, ensuring that we maximize and innovate on the potential of these exascale capabilities. Institutional computing and computing collaborations are important catalysts for innovation. Both El Capitan and Tuolumne embody this principle and drive advancements across all of our missions, as well as preparing us for the challenges of tomorrow. We are super lucky and we are super excited. We already have things going on both machines, and it is so much fun to talk to people about the results. So thank you, NNSA, for getting it here, for the technology that we have here. We are having a lot of fun already. And now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce to you Antonio Neri, President and Chief Executive Officer of Hewlett Packard Enterprise.
Well, good morning. I'm going to start with a little fact that is not in my speech, by the way. I used to live here in Livermore, and actually 3 miles from here. And never came to the lab, by the way. I used to live in one of those vineyards there in Vallecitos in East Vineyard, and the mayor talked about the history of Livermore, and so part of my family still live here. So for me, it's a special day because delivering the system is something that is unique, and for me is an honor to be here. So first of all, I would like to thank the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory for the partnership and for hosting today's engagement. I appreciate having us today in this very, very special day. We are very, very proud to have partnered with the lab as well as with Lisa, which is a dear friend of mine, and the amazing A&D team, the U.S. Department of Energy, and the U.S. National Security Administration, Nuclear Administration, to deliver such an incredible milestone in computing with the introduction of El Capitan. And now I have been the CEO for almost 7 years, and leading an amazing company. It has Hewlett and Packard as a brand. And in the last 2, seeing the deployment of this amazing system gives me such an incredible pride. Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory has a storied history making impactful contributions to the advancement of science, and El Capitan represents a significant leap for scientific discovery and innovation. It also represents the pinnacle of engineering collaboration, which was only possible as a result of our strong partnerships and a collaborative research and development efforts. Many of the technologies we have deployed in the systems, and I see Thomas as well here, when he was leading the effort at the Oak Ridge National Lab, it was not just deploying systems, it was innovating at the speed of deployment. And we have to learn on the fly how to build these amazing technologies. But together, we stood up the El Capitan in record time. And part of the learning we had with the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, we took it here to accelerate that. And subsequently, recognized as the world's fastest system today. For many decades, HP has been a world leader at the forefront of designing and building fully integrated, powerful large-scale systems. El Capitan is no exception. It will enable incredible advancement in science, including obviously the national security efforts, energy security, climate change, power grid modernization, and drought discovery. But HPE has a clear purpose to advance the way people live and work. For us, is how we solve some of the biggest societal challenges. And nowhere are these advancements more relevant in support of our nation's most critical missions, including national security. But what I'm really proud of is the HP Innovation Engine and the people. Many of the people are here in the room, and I want to say thank you to all of you for an incredible feast of engineering collaboration. Without the effort, the passion that we bring to bear every single day, none of this will happen. And so for me to represent 60,000 employees around the globe and deliver the system is something very, very unique. As the needs of our nation evolve, HP remains uniquely positioned to help the United States best take advantage of this opportunity. And we look forward to the next big machine, because the reality, while this is already in production, I know we're going to talk about how we're going to deliver the next one. And so I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to giving us this incredible challenge to solve these unique problems. I want to thank the team. I want to thank the National Laboratory and the Department of Energy for giving us such an incredible opportunity. And with that, I would like to invite now Lisa on stage. Thank you.
Good morning. It's such an honor to be here today. Thank you, Antonio, and good morning, everyone. You know, when we think about, celebrating El Capitan, these are the days that, certainly for me and for all of the AMDers around the world, we live for days like today. When we see all of the hard work and the deep collaboration with our other partners to really push the envelope in high-performance computing to help solve the world's most important challenges. Now, I will say that we actually began this journey with the Department of Energy and the Fast Forward and Path Forward programs over 12 years ago. So when you think about all of the innovation that you have to bring into these spaces, and I am incredibly proud of what we've all accomplished together as we bring El Capitan online. I would like to extend my gratitude and appreciation to Mayor Marchand, Mayor Danielle Ariola, Teresa Robbins, Marv, great to see you. Love the partnership. Janice Parenti from the NNSA, Director Budil, all of the people at Lawrence Livermore National Labs, and of course, Antonio and HPE for all of the work that we've done together. Now, I have to give you a little bit of an inside scoop. So for some of you who will get to tour the El Capitan, I'm so excited to see the machine. Antonio couldn't bring his large racks in, but I can actually bring the chip in. So the inside scoop I can tell you about MI300A. This is the first APU in the world which integrates CPUs and GPUs, 146 billion transistors using 2.5D and 3D technology. But the inside scoop I can give you is this actually wasn't the chip that we were supposed to build when we started the conversation about El Capitan. And many of you who are a part of that know the beauty of public-private partnerships and the reason that this machine is so special to AMD is because we push each other to really solve some of the world's most important challenges, and it makes us better. And so the ambition was to build the most powerful machine in the world. The ambition was to build something that was over 2 exaflops. The ambition was to build something that could fit within the power envelope of what we had. And with that, our engineers, together with the Lawrence Livermore engineers and the HPE engineers, decided that we were going to build the first of its kind APU that really integrated all of these technologies together. So I am so proud of the work that we've done together. I think this really is the best of bringing private and public partnerships together to really bring groundbreaking innovations required to keep the United States as the leader in this area. And it really inspires us to continue pushing the envelope in high-performance computing technologies. So my big congratulations to everyone who worked on El Capitan and have made these achievements possible. Together, we have accomplished something that's remarkable, but I think together it's only the beginning. And talking to Kim earlier today on all of the excitement behind the science of not just national security, but all of the other science that we can bring with El Capitan, I am super excited to see what we're able to do together. Thank you so much. And it's now my pleasure to introduce Tuc Hong, Deputy Assistant Administrator in the Office of Advanced Simulation and Computing for NNSA. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Su. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to take a few minutes to celebrate another major program milestone for ASE, and that is the 30th anniversary of ASE, Advanced Simulation Computing Program, which officially started in October 1995, when it was known as the Accelerated Strategic Computing Initiative, or ASCII. As Rob had mentioned, I have been working for the ASCII program, ASE, since December 1995. It's a long time, but it is so incredible to me to occasionally think about how much we have achieved, in the last 3 decades. So back then, we had the following goals for the 10-year ASCII initiative. It was an initiative, so it had to have a start date and an end date. So that was to deploy 100 teraflop system, develop initial 3D simulation capability. We thought we could do that in 10 years. Right? And then to stand up an academic alliance program that Marv mentioned, to build an external coalition to help us prove that high-performance computing and simulation could serve as a virtual testing capability. Now, this academic program happened to be my first real, project in the ASCII office. And I'm proud to say that it's still going very strong. In fact, it was highlighted in the 2024 National Academy of Science Digital Twin Report that it's a program that other U.S. Agencies should do more of. Now, needless to say, these 3 goals that I just mentioned were ambitious and audacious. Actually, I still remember in a couple public meetings in which we rolled out the first ASCII Alliance program. Actually, Marv, it was, I think, September 1997, nearby Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. So we tried to roll out the ASCII ASAP program. Some well-known leaders in the research community told me and the ASCII senior leadership team at the time, Alex, Lars Lear, Gil Wigan, and Vic Rees, that we would fail. Well, thankfully, I would say we have proved them wrong. So standing here today, it's remarkable how far we have come. We have moved from the 100 teraflop initial 3D simulation proof of concept on the ASCII Purple machine in 2003 to high-resolution full system simulation ensembles on LCAP that will provide unprecedented details, fidelities, and accuracy. Now, the ASE program is known more, like Kim and Rob have mentioned, we do more than just computing, although we've been known for it more than some of us want to be. But it's more about developing and delivering powerful, validated modeling simulation capabilities to allow the lab scientists, engineers, and code teams to solve the nation's most challenging scientific problems, all in support of the NNSA mission of ensuring the U.S. nuclear stockpile is safe, secure, and reliable. As we celebrate LCAP today, let us also celebrate the collective big science team effort that have brought us here today. And thank you, Lisa, for mentioning the fast forward, design forward, and then path forward. It took 5 forwards to get us to the LCAP system today. So thank you so much to the NNSA Tri-Labs, our external industry and academic partners, and generations of dedicated DOE headquarters and laboratory workforce. I look forward to the next 30 years of ASE, although I won't be working in ASE that long, of us delivering more exciting innovations and technological breakthroughs. To close the ceremony, I'd like to hand the mic off to Bruce Hendrickson, the Principal Associate Director for Computing at Livermore. Bruce.
Thank you, Tuck. And thank you to you personally for your career-long dedication to this incredible program. Your leadership is we couldn't have accomplished anything without you, so thank you for all that. What a day, what a day. Yes. Thank you. Listening to everyone else's remarks, I too have been reflecting on the long journey that brought us to this moment. I've been part of this 30-year journey with ASC, even longer than 30 years, but we won't go there. Serious planning for El Capitan started about 8 years ago, and that's easy for me to remember because it coincides pretty closely with the time that I arrived at this laboratory. So, as other speakers have conveyed, Livermore has been committed to HPC leadership since its founding in 1952. The laboratory has a long and very proud history of first-of-a-kind platforms, as we saw in Tuck's slide, tools, applications, algorithms. I personally believe that Livermore is the best organization in the world for this style of computing, bar none. And that's what brought me here. For a computing geek like me, this place is Disneyland, and I've got the best job on the planet. So in those 8 years, LCAP has gone through a series of phases. Early on, there was conceptualization of what the machine might look like, a set of hefty documents justifying requirements and the need for the machine. Moved on into a procurement phase and vendor selection, then contract negotiations and lots of complications around the financing instruments. At the laboratory, as already has been mentioned, we had a massive facility upgrade and big construction project to get ready for this machine. More recently, delivery of the hardware and shakeout. Of course, lots of issues that were addressed in that process. And now we're transitioning into deployment, maintenance, and user support. So it's been a very long journey to today, driven by vision and an enormous amount of grit and persistence to finally enter the exascale era. Very exciting time. So many of us have already expressed appreciation for our program sponsors, our vendor partners, our Tri-Lab collaborators, and the many scores of lab scientists and engineers who help bring El Capitan to life. But I want to, while reiterating those appreciations, I also want to give a shout out to those who work behind the scenes in essential roles that have underpinned all these technical accomplishments. These include the lab's legal department, technical writers, procurement specialists, finance experts, construction supervisors, and many others. It really does take a village to deliver on a project of this scope. The creativity, expertise, and passion of the teams here at Livermore, across the Tri-Labs, and among our industry partners are what make the impossible possible. So as we look to the years ahead, I'm confident that this system, well, these two systems, will unlock new capabilities we can't even fully imagine yet. In AI, in new types of modeling and simulation, in engineering design. So I'm incredibly excited about where we go next as we harness the power of El Capitan and Tuolumne for our missions. It's the end of one long journey, but as Rob said, in many ways, it's just an inflection point. It's the beginning of a new, very exciting journey as we move forward to use these incredible capabilities. So with that, I want to invite all of you to join me for a reception in the West Cafeteria, which is just out and to the right. And I hope to see many of you there to close out this special day. So thank you again, and congratulations to everyone, but back to Rob for some final remarks.
All right, as we conclude this ceremony, I hope First, I want to thank all the speakers. That was fantastic. I hope you all in the audience now have a better sense of the really transformative power we think the system is going to bring to us and to the nation, and why we're so excited as computer geeks up here. And definitely thank you to everyone who helped prepare for this event and make this event possible. So just a little bit of logistics for our guests who are attending the reception. Bruce mentioned, please exit the auditorium here and follow the signs to the cafeteria next door. If you didn't on the way in, stop at the tables on the way out. We have some memorabilia, mugs and coins and booklets, one per person, unless it's a sticker. I think we got like shoe boxes full of those. If you are staying for the media session, so that's happening immediately in here. So we're going to ask people to kind of move quickly out of here. If you are staying for the media sessions, please remain here in the auditorium, and the participating executives in that first session can take their seats up here on the stage. And for the media and public relation folks in the audience, you're welcome to fill in the seats here up front as the room clears out. And from here on, Jeremy Thomas, our Public Information Officer for Computing here at Livermore, will take over to moderate these sessions. Enjoy the reception. That concludes this portion of today. Thank you all for attending.